Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review Team News reaction video ahead of tonight's clash between Dundee and Rangers at Dundee Park. Full squad this evening. Thought we had 4 guys on the video there, but it's just myself, Chris Jack, live from Dundee Park. How was your journey up, Chris?
A bit wet in places, Derek, and a bit slow in places as well. Also a few road works, so hopefully Rangers travelling support can get up here safe and sound.
Yeah, before we come to Joshua, what's the pitch looking like, Chris?
Most of it looks actually okay. Area away to my left-hand side, and certainly that goal mouth to the left doesn't look best. The groundsmen were working on it just as we got here. That was about 20 minutes or so ago, half an hour or so ago. There's no one working on it at present, so I'm hoping they're going to come back out and get another go at it, because it doesn't look the best. And we're also right up the back of the stand, but pitch side looks a bit windy as well, so I like to keep the high balls low.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully you've wrapped up. It looks like you've got the layers on there, so that's good to know. Joshua also joins us. How are we getting on, Joshua?
Yeah, good. Slightly surprised at the team, Derek, I must say. Didn't expect there to be no Todd Cantwell again. I'll pull it up as we're talking. I guess you've got to expect that that's to do with managing his minutes ahead of the weekend. Danilo does come in, which I think people will be excited at. I think that's a positive. We saw the impact he had from the bench from the weekend, but looking back to Leon Balogun, who hasn't played, probably hasn't started a game since the home tie against Morton. Chris can correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely a continuation of what Clement has described so far, which is a consistent puzzle to put together as Rangers starting 11. And plenty to talk about within that. I guess the positive you would say is that there's a few options to change it from the bench, Cantwell being one of those. But yeah, good to see Danilo leading from the front. A few question marks and surprising decisions behind that, which probably speak to the options that Clement has at the moment.
Yeah, that team, folks. Butland in goal, a back four of Tavernier, Goldson, Leon Balogun, which I think must be the first start since Morton. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, in the comments. Ridvan make up the back four. Lundstrom and Jack in midfield. And Lammers, Seema and Scott Wright comes in to support Danilo up top. On the bench for Rangers this evening, McCrory, Dessers, Cantwell, Cifuentes, Dowell, Sterling, Barisic, King and McCausland. Chris, I think that the big surprise for me isn't so much Danilo starting up front. It is Leon Balogun coming in for Ben Davies, who drops out altogether. Chris is actually speaking to someone, so we'll come to you first, Joshua. he's just, but Chris is putting his head.
There's no filter here, Chris. Is there no filter? This is the real raw.
Sorry, guys. Just had some breaking news from the snappers to say that kickoff may be delayed because the Rangers team bus is stuck. Still hopefully find that out soon. But that's the word from the snappers. If it's wrong, blame the snappers, not the written press.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. The Rangers bus is delayed, folks, so kickoff may be delayed. Right, okay, back to the team then. Big surprise for me, Chris, is Ben Davies put up for the press yesterday, and now he's not even in the matchday squad. One must assume he has picked up an injury between said presser and tonight's game. So Leon Balogun comes in from the cold.
It's very cold. It's definitely a surprise. No one saw that. We also picked our teams last night, Small and Derek. No one would have had Leon Balogun in there. Probably wouldn't even have had Leon Balogun on the bench. But it's also a chance for him to come in. We know he's an experienced campaigner. He knows what it's all about. He's obviously been up here before, so I don't think it's a problem for him. But it's definitely a partnership that we've not seen that often this season, if at all this season. So a big night for Balogun, and who knows? We'll hopefully try and find out what the situation with Ben Davies is after the game when we speak to the manager.
Yeah, I love this. Kevin Robbins message in. Bus is injured. So there you go. You couldn't make it up, such as life at Rangers at this moment in time. Scott Wright is another big surprise. Joshua, Todd Cantwell has been put on the bench this evening. I think that will raise a few eyebrows. Interesting comment from Francis. You says it. Love how you didn't put Scott Wright in your 11, Derek, and he stars. Yeah, it just shows you, Francis, doesn't it? But big night for him, getting the nod ahead of Todd Cantwell. I have to assume, Joshua, that just going off what Philip Clement said yesterday, they're just managing Todd's minutes. Remember, he has been out for some time, I think we will see him at some point this evening, but I'd imagine they're just sort of assessing his workload and not wanting to give him too much too soon.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it this morning, Derek, didn't we? You've got to presume with the intentionality with which Clement has been speaking about and the attention to detail he's been given publicly about injuries, that it is a case of managing Cantwell's minutes, who started in the last two games and obviously came off the bench against Hibs. Scott Wright is one of these players, as we spoke about again recently, who managers seem to like, but he's also available. And you look at that starting 11, and it is a starting 11 of players that are available as much as in form. If you're looking at inform attackers, Danilo's made a good impact off the bench as of late. Sima has had a different couple of games the last week or so away in Prague. Last midweek, he had to do a job for the team, which I think he did really well at the weekend against Hearts. I don't think it was a game when he's playing off the left. I think you want him to move centrally and have space to run in behind as much as possible, which the Hibs game afforded him, and the game against Hearts at the weekend did not. They're playing a back five. They scored an early goal, which allowed them to sit back a little bit. Raskin obviously misses out. Good to have the option of Ryan Jack in there alongside John Lundstrom and Balogun. Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen him. It's probably going to be a game where you'd imagine that Dundee try to, if they are going to attack the left side of the defence, do so directly and with plenty of high balls. So having Balogun in there makes sense from that perspective, but you've got to presume, as Chris says, it's an injury for Davies, given he was doing the press yesterday, given there was no mention of that. It's a team that it's all about Clement getting the results, and he's managed to do that so far, getting the results to build time for the performances and to build time to get players fit, to get players back and available. Another big night and opportunity for Sam Lammers, who I think after maybe a step in the right direction against Hibs, has had a couple of really difficult games in the last two. He's the option in there. This is his opportunity again to I guess stake a claim for his place in the team without any other options. You'd imagine that Cantwell will play a part at some point tonight, and hopefully it's just a case of managing his minutes with Hearts at the weekend.
Yeah, Chris, I'm concerned. I've got to say that the team is slightly concerning for me. Sam Lammers, I wouldn't have had him in my team. I would rather have seen Ross McCausland getting an opportunity tonight. That front line, though, for you, Chris, does that have enough firepower in it, do you think, to get the win this evening?
I think half of it does. I'll let you decide which half I think does and which half doesn't. No, I think seeing Danilo in there is obviously a huge bonus. He's been the main man that the fans have been talking about over the last couple of weeks. Pleased to see him back here from the start. Interesting to see how long he gets, how long he can get through, but also how long the manager wants to give him ahead of the game at the weekend as well. Lammers, we've spoken off and off. Don't rate him. I don't see what he brings to the side. If everyone was fit, if the manager had a free hand at the pick, Lammers wouldn't be in the team. I've said off and off in the last few weeks, it's a big game for Lammers and Dessers. Could this be the game? I think we're at that kind of getting past that stage now. Right. No, again, you've spoken often enough about over the last few weeks, Derek. Yeah. It's a surprise. On form, if everyone was fit, he wouldn't be in the team, but he's available. He's able to do a job. So it's a big night for Rangers in general, because they need to take 3 points tonight back down the road, and then also focus on Sunday. But Sunday right now is days and days away, and is a really important 90 minutes away. Now, Rangers need to get the job done first and foremost up at Dens Park tonight.
Yeah, that team still should theoretically be good enough to beat Dundee, although they are a team in decent form. They think the conditions will be a leveller tonight as well. Justin Lammers, Denzel says, Derek, I'd rather have you in the team rather than Lammers. So thanks very much for your kind words, Denzel. That's very nice of you to say so. RFC 72, and a few questions coming in, Chris. Does Chris know anything about Zach Lovelace? I just don't think he's recovered from that hamstring injury he suffered at St Mirren, Chris.
He's not actually been mentioned the last couple of weeks. I said in my piece on the website yesterday, it's almost felt like a ticking boxes exercise when we've sat in front of the manager in the last few weeks. You just rhyme off these names. We've gone through Danilo, we've gone through Cantwell, we've gone through Oscar Barisic, and didn't even get a mention yesterday, and he's also back in the squad. So no update on Lovelace. Even if he had been fit, I think it would have been a surprise. Like McCausland is probably ahead of him. And the pecking order have also been involved in the last few weeks. If McCausland's not going to get a shot ahead to Scott Wright, I don't think Lovelace would have done either. But again, we'll try and find out how far away is Zach from a first team return.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the Dundee team, folks. I can't for the life of me find it at the moment. I'm on their Twitter account and they've not posted yet. Joshua, is there or Chris, is there any any team sheets there whatsoever? You can update us on the opposition.
Oh, he's muted himself.
He's muted himself. He's off in one, but he said,
Yeah.
There we go.
I was not breaking the Dundee team news there. Don't worry, no, still no news from the host.
Yeah, okay.
Derek, just on Lammers, I think it is interesting. He's the only option in there at the moment, isn't he? I mean, there is no real other option because I think you see the shape
for who.
In the number 10 position. If you're looking at how Clement's played so far, what he wants in the league, basically, a rough 4-4-2 shape off the ball and someone playing off the front of the striker. So if you're talking about putting players in said positions, if you were to move Scott Wright in there, Abdallah Sima, I don't think that's their natural spot either. I think it's Todd Cantwell's, but he's obviously still managing his minutes. He's a player who we've spoken a lot over the last couple of weeks about what exactly does he bring, and I guess things can really quickly snowball when a player has a couple of bad performances. Think back to pre-season, and he had a decent enough impact. I think he was probably one of the signings who, again, it's not pre-season. I'm not trying to level that in mitigation, but there's maybe some sightings as, okay, here's a player who's quite neat technically. He can hopefully join in the box and be a goal threat. You think that header he scored in pre-season, I think it was away at Hoffenheim, wasn't it? Newcastle at home, you maybe saw okay, he can be a good presser in moments. The difficulty he's had is he's not been able to replicate that in big matches, and he's made big misses as well. So I think the only way you get over that at a club like Rangers, when a lot of the support has made up their mind, is with big moments and big performances. He looks to me like a player, and I think his shot from Chris will back me up, it was all of 40 yards, his shot from Ibrox at the weekend, which ended up in the Brooming rear.
Dreadful.
That spoke to a player who's playing without confidence and is continually shooting from bad locations. I think he's your number 10 who is fit at the moment. And for him, before Cantwell comes back to take that spot, which you've got to presume he will, I think that we are reaching the point where he's not got long to kind of demonstrate what he is good at, not got long to play with confidence because, as you know, as Chris knows, once public opinion turns at a club like Rangers, it's really difficult to turn it back around. And then maybe you're looking at, again, as we discussed earlier, coming out of the team and only being able to make an impact in game states are a bit more comfortable, because at the weekend, I think he really looked like a player who's playing without a lot of confidence.
Yeah, the game just passes him by for me. He's a decent player, I guess, but not at Rangers. We need a lot more from him, and I am concerned we won't see that from him this evening. I hope I'm proved wrong. Chris has the Dundee team. Spill the beans, Chris.
What is he saying there will be a definite? You can't give us a price.
Dundee team is Carson, Beck, Shaughnessy, Tiffany, Bakayoko, Olami, McGowan, Boateng, Donnelly, Silla, and Portales. So that's how the host lineup. Just had it confirmed from Rangers, incidentally, that there will be a delay tonight on the kickoff time. I think Rangers have just actually put something out. We just had a call there to say that the game is going to be delayed. So that's another blow to those of us that have made the long journey up. But hopefully it's all worth it in the end, and it's 3 points and down the road slightly later than expected.
Yeah, a long night awaits for you, Chris. That's for sure. In for the long haul this evening. Right, guys, I think that'll do us there. Just a reminder of that Rangers team. A few surprises in there. Butland in goal, Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun and Ridvan at the back. Lundstrom and Jack in midfield, with the forward line consisting of Wright, Lammers and Sima supporting Danilo. Coming in for Cyril Dessers. The Rangers bench looks like this: McCrory, Dessers, Cantwell, Cifuentes, Dowell, Sterling, Barisic, King and McCausland. Right, folks, I'll be joining Chris a little later on. Who knows what time it'll be whenever kickoff occurs, but we'll be speaking at full time once Chris has spoken to the manager. And as he says, hopefully we're reporting on another Rangers victory. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the show as ever. It's greatly appreciated, and we'll speak to you a little later on.